In this video, you're going to learn how to use your CBA textbooks. First, I want to show you how to actually get to, what your assignment is, and then how to use your textbook. So here we go. I have Schoology open right now. I'm going to go to Courses, and then CBA. Once you get to CBA, it defaults to the Updates page, which I haven't put any updates yet, but they will be there. You go up to Materials, which is right here. When you click Materials, you have the first week of school stuff, which we've already gone through, Unit 1, and then Unit 2, which is what we're starting on now. When you click Unit 2, right now you should be able to see Lesson 1. I'm going to go ahead and click Lesson 1, because that's where we are. But when you get ready to start actually working in the book, which is right here, where it says Word Lesson 1, you would go there and you would do exactly what your directions are telling you to do. So, for example, this one says, after watching all videos for Lesson 1, go to your book and complete Lesson 1 step-by-steps in Projects 1, 5, and 6. So, we're going to go to our book and we're going to do what that says. So, I'm going to minimize this for right now. How to get to your book. You've already saved these if you did that tutorial where I showed you how to save your books into your folder, your CBA folder. So here we go. I'm going to click the File Explorer button. You should have your book saved in the Documents drive, the CBA folder, and then we're in Word right now. So we're going to go to Word, and there's your book. Now, there's one very important thing here. We want this to open in Adobe Reader because it's going to make it way easier to use. Right now, I'm pretty sure your default settings are not for Adobe Reader. So if your icon doesn't match my icon, the little red and white Adobe icon, then you need to go change something. So right now, if you were to double click, go ahead and try it. Double click your Word textbook. If you double click it and it opens in Microsoft Edge, which would look like this, it opens up like in an internet browser, that is not how you want this to work for you, because that's going to throw all your pages off and it makes it way harder than it actually is. So I'm going to exit out of this and show you how to fix that problem. If yours opened in Microsoft Edge, you right click on the textbook, you go down to Open With, and we're going to set it so that it will always open with the right thing from here on out. So we're going to go down to Choose Another App. So it says, how do you want to open this file? We want to use Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. So go ahead and click Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. And then, the most important thing, click the checkbox that says always use this app to open PDF files. And that'll make it so that all your textbooks will open in Adobe Acrobat Reader. And then push OK. And now your textbook opens, but also, I don't know if you noticed, but it changed to the PDF symbol, meaning that all your stuff should open correctly from here on out. Okay, so now we have our textbook. The first thing that you want to do is close this little right-hand side. So we're going to click that little triangle, and that will close that sidebar. Right now your textbook is huge, and you only have one monitor to work with here. So we're going to zoom out so we can see our book a little bit better. And the thing is, you can scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, but there are 214 pages in this book alone. And there's a Word book, a PowerPoint book, an Access book, and so on. So scrolling, no fun. Let's just use our page number finder. So up in our box, we're going to type a 1. So like we're going to page 1, which does not mean page 1 of the textbook. It means page 1 of like where the textbook actually starts teaching us stuff. So I typed a 1, and I'm going to push enter, and that takes us straight to Lesson 1, which is Understanding Microsoft Word. So that's where you need to be. I'll give you a second to get there. If you remember, these particular directions say complete the Lesson 1 step-by-steps and the project. So we're going to go to our Lesson 1 step-by-steps. Well, what is a step-by-step? Allow me to tell you. If you scroll down, by the way, the lesson skill matrix shows us what we're actually learning here for Lesson 1. So always be sure and read over that so you know what on earth this lesson is talking about. Then page 2 of Lesson 1 is just a bunch of reading, and honestly, especially Lesson 1, this isn't really telling you stuff that you don't already know. I mean, all of us have used Microsoft Word for a few years now, or maybe your whole life, and so you honestly don't have to read that word for word. Maybe skim over it, see if there's something, you know, that you didn't know about. But the things that I really want you to pay attention to in the book are the words that are highlighted in yellow. If you ever see any of those, always be sure and read those, because those are terms that will be on quizzes and tests for that particular lesson. If you scroll down a little further, you have your very first step-by-step. That word should look familiar because if you go back to Schoology, it says complete the lesson 1 step-by-steps. So anytime you see a yellow bar like that that says step-by-step, that is a project that you're completing, or a set of steps that you're completing for an actual grade that you will submit to me on Schoology. So the first one, this one's a super easy step-by-step. It says get ready. Before you begin these steps, be sure to turn on and or log on to your computer. And on the Windows 10 desktop, click the start button. So you would go to the start button. Okay, now I've clicked the start button, but now part of my text is cut off and I don't know what it says. So that's where it's important for us to know how to do split screen so that we can see half of the screen our textbook and the other half of our screen can be used to work. So let's talk about splitting screens before we go further into this. To split a screen, you simply put your mouse up on the title bar anywhere up there. You click and you drag until your mouse, not the edge of your window, but until your mouse touches the side of the window over there. And you do the same thing for the other side unless this handy dandy little thing pops up, which is a new feature of Windows 10. If you just click on the window you want open beside it, it will do that for you. Okay, so now I'm going to go back over to my textbook. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit more to make sure we are seeing everything in the directions there. It says on the Start menu, locate Word 2016 and click the icon. The Word 2016 screen appears. On the left side of the screen, you see the recent documents that have been accessed, and on the right side displays the blank document page and templates. So they're just telling us to go open Word, basically. So I'm going to go open Word, Start. If it's not up here, you can always just like scroll through. I think yours will have an alphabetical list of them, and you can find Word that way. I'm going to pull Word over here. Okay, it says pause. Leave the Word 2016 screen open to use in the next exercise. So when you've done that, then you've completed that step-by-step. Okay. That one had how many steps? Just 2 steps in it. Step 1 and step 2. Some of them can have, 10, 15 steps, but always complete all the steps in a step-by-step. Then it takes us to another little section called Working with Tools, using the ribbon, and a lot of those words are highlighted, so those are ones that you're going to want to read over a little bit to know what on earth you're about to be doing. Because they're going to use terminology, such as the next step-by-step says use the ribbon. Well, you're not going to have a clue what the ribbon is if you haven't read. So always be sure and read those yellow highlighted words in their definitions. Okay, so that's how it works. You just scroll through lesson 1. Anytime you come to a step-by-step, you do what it says, and anytime you see those words that are highlighted in yellow, you make sure and read them. Once you finish the step-by-steps, which these, let's see how long they go. 18. Okay, so these step-by-steps are 18 pages long. Sometimes in your directions on Schoology, I'll have you skip certain things. So always make sure you read the directions on the Schoology page to know like what pages you need to skip, because I definitely will have you skip some. Also, after you finish the step-by-steps, like for example, our directions on Schoology said to do the projects, which I'm going to update this here in a minute, but projects 1, 5, and 6. I think this time I'm just going to have you do like projects 1 and 2. So after the step-by-steps, you just keep on scrolling because you're still on lesson 1. Then you have the knowledge assessment. You do not have to do those. Do not do the knowledge assessments because I make my own quizzes on Schoology for that. Then you come to the projects. So to get to the projects, you just keep on scrolling. Okay? When you get to the projects, you'll know because it says lesson 1 projects. And they're actually called like project 1-1, meaning project lesson 1 project 1. Lesson 1, Project 2. So you would follow the directions to complete those. Basically, just go to Schoology, follow the directions, do what it says. I'll always give you a list on Schoology of all the files that I need you to submit for that lesson so that you'll know exactly what I'm looking for. But the thing is, you can't just start off down here. You can't go, okay, number 1 says welcome memo. She wants welcome memo. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to try to find the welcome memo file. And when I find it, I'm going to complete just that one and print it, and submit it. Okay, and then I'm going to go to Tech Terrace 2 because that's the second one listed. Do not do that. Because the thing is, those things a lot of times feed from one step-by-step to the other. So like welcome memo may have started on page 8 and we're on page 16. So it's very important that you follow all the step-by-steps, because I promise you, when I go through this book and I do the assignments, I do all the step-by-steps that the directions tell me to do, and that's what I'm using to grade your work. So make sure you do exactly what the directions say. This list is just to help you find the files. When you're done with all of it, it helps you go back and select the files that I'm asking for. Okay. If you do all the work that I ask you to do, you will automatically have all of these files. I hope that's clear. I want you guys to please feel free to come to me for help if you ever need it. I'm more than happy to help you and answer questions, because I know, especially at the beginning of CBA, it feels very overwhelming and scary almost, especially thinking, you know, this is my first online class. So, come to me with any questions you have. If you're in the room with me, raise your hand and I will be happy to help you. Have a wonderful day.